movies, and how would she adjust her style to this? Because that ability to adjust your styles between the things that you're going to do or offered is really important, because there's a lot of difference between, you know, being on The Wire or being on, you know, 2.5 Dads or whatever it is. That's 2.5 Men. What? 2.5 Men, that one. It's a difference in styles, and somebody can be equally good in both of those things, which leads me to Kathy Bates. Now, we all know, but in a movie, and if you haven't seen this movie called Men Don't Leave, it introduced several young actors, Chris O'Donnell, several people that have gone on, Jessica Lange giving, you know, one of her usual magnificent performances. Kathy Bates has 2 scenes, 2 short scenes. It's really Kathy Bates' introduction to the movies. And out of these 2, and she just plays kind of a fat lady who owns a diner, you know, but she's given Jessica Lange advice in these 2 things. And, you know, Kathy Bates is anything but the standard Hollywood type. And yet, here she is in this movie, and you're going, movie star? And I didn't know what she was. I mean, she was already an established New York actress, and I'd heard her name, but I didn't really know who she was. And I saw her in that movie, and I went, she's going to star in movies. Even though she doesn't look like in any way a movie star, she's going to star in movies. There's just something about the way she committed to the camera, to what she was doing, that you just knew. You just knew. And she didn't go, little part, I'm already a Broadway actress, you know, she just got the part, came and did the deal.
Toni Collette is another one. Because my favorite film of mine is The Hours. I've seen it about 6 times. I've never seen a movie where every frame counts. Every single frame of the film. Her scene in the kitchen with Juliana Moore. I mean, she's on for 6 minutes. I grew up with that woman in Minnesota. I knew exactly, you know, just what she established in that 5-6 minute scene about that woman and the life in the 50s. Yeah. Oh, she'd be beautiful.
Well, she's another interesting one, because she'll do little things, she'll do big things. She was just in a movie that I think I talked about at the last follow-up called Towelhead. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a vastly undersung, brilliant movie in which many actors, including Toni Collette, are just doing that kind of work in a small, odd little movie that's about kind of touchy subject matter. And Aaron Eckhart's never been better than he was in this movie. Toni Collette is a side player in it, sort of, and she's stunning. And again, it's because Toni Collette is at the stage where, you know, she can do what she wants, and yet she'll show up and do whatever gives her a chance to do her thing, you know?
And not the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so important. We were talking about Javier Bardem today, going from No Country for Old Men into Christine and
Barcelona.
movie. I mean, 2 totally different people, and I thought it was wonderful. I think it was terrifying in No Country for Old Men. Yeah, I was gripping my seat, got into fixations. But that, it's just when actors can do that rather than just allow themselves to be tight. I mean, Sean Penn, we were talking. Look at the man he plays in Mystic River and the man he plays in Milk.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God!
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't one recognizable carryover, you know?
Well, I think that, you know, among the people that we're talking about now, and especially when we're talking about beginning performances or introductory performances, I think the thing that stands out always to me is some level of commitment. It isn't that sometimes people aren't as good as they're going to get. They may not even be all that great, and yet there's just a feeling about them, about how much they want to tell a story and how much they want to play a part in a story. And I think that's the, you know, the translatable piece for all of you is no matter what you're handed, whether it's great writing or not so great writing, it's a commercial. You know, I hear people come in all the time and make fun of commercials. And I go, you know, a commercial is a little teeny tiny story. Now they may be commercial, they may be for selling things, whatever, but that's not your concern. The concern is you're given this little piece of storytelling to do. Do you fully commit? Because that's what translates when you're given some wonderful part or a bigger part or a more important part. You know, I don't think there's anything that isn't the opportunity for you each to show how good and committed you are, even if it's not a great thing, even if it's a bad commercial. That doesn't demean you. What demeans you is being uncommitted in whatever work you're in. And if you're judging the work and that's cause for not committing to it, it just makes you look less than committed. I wanted to talk about, there's another performance that I think is worth your seeing, and rather a good 40s movie called Gaslight. And in that movie, Angela Lansbury, at 18 years of age, gives a performance in just 2 scenes that got her nominated for and winning an Academy Award when she was 19 years old. She was Best Supporting Actress for this little thing in Gaslight. And when you see it, it's kind of a silly, unpleasant, ditzy little blonde fluff part. But her commitment to this little dumb part makes the movie, I mean, it's got Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer, it's got wonderful people in it, and it's a great movie, but her little part has to hold some things together. Without her, you don't really know what's going on. And she gives one of those performances that, again, you go, oh, I'll bet she'll be around. And now, 97 years later, she is still around and kicking ass. If you haven't noticed, she just did a season on Broadway in a not very good production, but to wonderful reviews for her. You know, it's that commitment. And at this point, she's old. She doesn't have to commit. You know, I mean, the fact she shows up and will put her name up, and yet, I didn't see it, but I'll bet you every night, and she didn't get very good, I mean, she got good reviews, but the play didn't. But I'll bet every night she didn't let that stand in her way.
I'm afraid she was going to fall in the orchestra pit with the dance that she did.
Yeah, she maybe, what is she, 86?
Yeah.
That's right.
And Estelle Parsons, who's coming here in Osage County,
Yeah.
83.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's up and down that stairway if they do the triple set.
Yeah, now this is a Broadway performance. Estelle Parsons
At least
is
6
replaced,
days.
but she's going to do it here in August, Osage County. Estelle Parsons plays the matriarch in this thing, and Kim and I saw it in New York with Estelle Parsons, not the original woman. And see, this is another thing. Estelle Parsons was the replacement, right? But didn't stop her. You know, she made her own version. And when it's here, I urge you to see it. It's a really, it isn't a great play, but it's a pretty great play, and it's got wonderful parts. August, Osage County.
We said 6 William Inge plays in one evening.
Yeah.
That's a very wonderful definition. Who we should talk about is Frank Langella.
We should.
And what he, on the Frost Nixon, he is probably one of our great American actors.
Yeah.
He really is. And that Frost Nixon, I mean, probably, to me, my favorite one, the Howard movie, because I don't think he turned it into a Hallmark card. He just, you know, Jesus, the close-ups. I mean, those 2 guys had a camera right on their nose. And Frank, without doing an impersonation of Nixon, I mean, he made me care about Richard Nixon. I never thought I'd care about him.
Yeah, no, I know. It's and as many of you know, that was a translation from a Broadway thing that he originated. And the Broadway play was very small, very tight, because it was just Frost and Nixon. That was, you know, that's it. And so when it expanded into the movie, he had to completely change the tires on, you know, on his performance and run it in a different way, and he did it. He did the movie version again. It's that thing. There is no limitations to the styles that any of you can do except the limitations you put on yourselves, and that's why it's great to let yourself study in these various areas. Find your, because there's some things you don't do or can't do or they're not, but